If you've been into Bitcoin for a long time like me, you remember back the first time, back when Bitcoin reached a peak, and the People's Bank of China, PBOC, tried to destroy it. And just at that same time frame, you had all of these crazy fools out there writing articles about Bitcoin. They really didn't know anything about Bitcoin, but they were writing these articles anyway in the mainstream media. And they at that period in time, and they were just completely trying to eviscerate Bitcoin. They were like, it's no good, it's not going to last, it's going to die, and just article after article after article they did. And there was a whole group of them, a whole bunch of them doing it at the same time. And I'll admit, back in those days, Bitcoin was in its infancy and people didn't even know what it was. And there was a lot of rumors swirling around that it was garbage and it was going to die and all this stuff, right? And so I don't really can't really throw a lot of blame into these guys because they didn't really understand what they were talking about back then. But guess what? Guess what, guys? I found one of these guys that's still here. I guess he's one of the last ones of these idiots. He's in his new article is just it's just so good. It's just so good. You got to look at this. I found it on the internet. It's really good, and he's mainstream media. It's in Gizmo, Gizmodo. It's Gizmodo magazine, and his article is called "Bitcoin Refuses to Die Already," and he says, "Please just die already." He says. Bitcoin somehow continues to persist despite mounting evidence that it's not the best use of your money. The digital cryptocurrency hit a record high on Thursday, trading above $1,200. It says financial experts have already cast aside the web-based currency as a legitimate investment, calling it too volatile, too risky, in some cases just a scam. He goes on to say, he says the Financial Times also reported in 2015, but see, now that's back when I was telling you about when they were all saying it was a scam back a couple years ago. But he's going back to those articles that those idiots wrote before. And he says the Financial Times also reported in 2015 that Bitcoin has all the attributes of a pyramid scheme. What he doesn't realize is this little pyramid scheme is has the potential. The invention, the blockchain is as big as the light bulb of a new invention, and it has more power for mankind than the light bulb. They're not going to be able to stop this. I knew that years ago, way ahead of this guy. Way ahead of anybody. I knew that. But this guy's getting me. I mean, just this stuff he's writing in here. It's pyramid scheme. He says the cryptocurrency has long been embroiled in a history of, I'm not going to repeat the word he says, ups, ups, and controversies. And see, he's even resorting to superlatives here because he's so against Bitcoin. This guy's amazing. Including a $500 million heist from the world's largest Bitcoin exchange in 2014. Yeah, Mt. Gox. I remember that. I was at the time watching the whole episode, Mt. Gox. That was something else, but he's right about that. They did have a heist of Mt. Gox, and it's never really, I don't think, been solved. He says it doesn't help that the currency's original story is murky, too. Bitcoin was supposedly created by an unidentified programmer or group of programmers under the name Satoshi Nakamoto. Okay, all that's true, I admit. He says, invented in 2008, Bitcoin has continually beat the odds. Now, that's where he's completely wrong. It hasn't beat the odds. It's been pushing through one obstruction after another, and he just contradicted himself anyway, because at the start of this whole thing he said Bitcoin refuses to just die already, so he's contradicting himself. Anyway, at the end of the article, you know what he says? he's got one final last slur here against Bitcoin. And here it is at the very end of the article. He says, uh, he repeats the Financial Times again. According to the Financial Times, it's essentially worthless. And his last little slur, his last little dig at Bitcoin is, at least it's good for entertainment. Entertainment? Bitcoin right now is worth billions and billions of dollars. Entertainment? It's money. It's money like gold. In fact, I'm going to cover 3 issues here with this. What he thinks is money, he probably uses US dollars. The US dollars do not cover the 3 main points of money, which is fungibility. Well, US dollar does cover fungibility. The US dollar does cover store of value. But the third point of money, unlimited supply. The US dollar, limited supply. The US dollar is not limited supply. The US dollar, they can create more US dollars than there are leaves on the trees. Just simply by pushing a button. Now, they've got it right down. They don't even have to start the presses anymore. They just push a button, and the US dollars pop out like leaves on the trees. Where Bitcoin has a hard limit of 20 million Bitcoins. It can never exceed that limit. So all 3 things, fungibility, Bitcoin is fungible. Store of value, you can store Bitcoin away, especially on a paper wallet, and it'll be worth the same as it is to say 2 years from now. Well, if the price didn't go up, the price is only going up on the stuff. The third part of aspect of money is that Bitcoin is limited in supply. The US dollar is not limited in supply, so it fails in the third aspect of money. And that's probably what he thinks is money, the US dollar. Whereas Bitcoin, how does he call it here? At least it's good for entertainment. It's more than entertainment. Bitcoin is probably the equivalent of gold. It's the digital equivalent of gold. Gold has certain things, certain wonderful aspects. One of the wonderful aspects is if the internet goes down, gold doesn't go down with the internet. Where Bitcoin kind of fails on that point, because if the internet were to go down, you can't use your Bitcoin. But Bitcoin can do things that gold can't do. Bitcoin can instantaneously go halfway around the earth to another computer. Gold can't do that. You'd have to try to move gold physically, and gold can't be moved physically. So Bitcoin has certain qualities that are really good, and gold has certain qualities that are really good. If you use Bitcoin as like digital gold, then you get the best of both worlds, because if you can back Bitcoin with gold, with physical gold, you get the best of both worlds. So what we have here is something that is, he says, at least it's good for entertainment. That little slur just shows his complete and utter lack of understanding. Okay, if you like my video, like and subscribe, and thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye for now.